What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Scotty Talks NBA. I am your host at Scotty Drown. I am accompanied here by my co-host Slim. You can also find him on Twitter at RTR30111. Slim, happy Thursday, my man. Welcome back to the show. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, like
Yeah,
all of it because it's been that
yeah,
long. But
yeah. It's been a minute,
I'm
man.
happy to have you back in here, man. How you been?
Been good, brother. Just been trying to stay positive. Warriors been struggling as of late, but overall, been pretty good for the most
Hey, the
part.
Bills getting you right. The Bills are getting you
Yeah, the
right
Bills.
before the playoffs.
Yep, the Bills been better than the Warriors at this point. So been
Facts.
trying to stay positive for the most part. But happy New Year's to you too, man.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, man. And yeah, no, you mentioned it. The Warriors just trying to stay up. I believe I know I saw you made an announcement on Twitter. I don't know if you want to share it on here as well. About you becoming part of a new brand or a new type of content creating company. If you want to share.
Oh yeah, so I'm gonna be like a Warriors media caster for this. It's an app called Pro Sports Fan. So basically, just to be doing like live reactions to the games and different things like that, interacting with the
Ah,
fans
that's
all
dope.
across the world and stuff like this. So
Yeah.
yeah, just if you interested, anybody tuning in, you can download Pro Sports Fans, and then you can just you can go to my Twitter page and you'll see the link, and then you
Get
can
the
tap
link
in
to it.
from there basically. So
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll have to look into that, man, and check you out. We'll have to do like if the Warriors play the Sixers or something. We'll have to get on there
exactly,
together or
yeah,
something, man. That
yeah,
would
I
be
can get you
dope.
on there for sure.
That would be dope. But congratulations, man. I'm happy
Yeah,
for you with
appreciate
that.
that.
All right, man. What we're gonna get into in this show? It's been a while, so we got a lot to talk about. We're gonna talk about the most recent news, and that's the Kawhi Leonard extension, 3 years, 153 million with the Clippers. Talk about how that impacts the free agency, impacts the Clippers going forward. We're gonna get to your Warriors a little bit here with Draymond Green. Obviously, he came back on his podcast and had some thoughts to share regarding his recent suspension, recent thoughts on retirement, man. Um, and then we'll just kind of take a quick trip around the league. Like I said, we haven't been together in a while, so I want to talk about the officiating perspective around the league. Obviously, Toronto's head coach. I don't want to butcher his name. That's why I don't say it. So
Yeah,
maybe after this, I'll do some pronunciation classes on his name. I believe it's Darko. That is like the short name to call him, but nonetheless, he comes out, makes some official complaints about the NBA officiating in regards to the playing the Lakers, right, and the way that game played out. But I also want to get your thoughts on the trade with OG Anunoby, just what you've seen there. Real quickly, it mixed in there as well. So we'll kind of glide through a bunch of different topics here before getting to our power rankings and end of the show. But let's start at the top, man. The Clippers. They go out, they extend Kawhi Leonard, they get it done before the trade deadline, they get it done before the end of this season. So he's locked in for 3 more years, 153 million. He was eligible for 4 years, 223 million dollars. Ultimately, let them keep some of that money in hopes of being able to sign PG and James Harden back this offseason. Now, Paul George, he's eligible for an extension anytime. He can sign at any time now. Could be tomorrow for all we know. But
yeah.
all signs point to him being inclined towards signing back here as well now that Kawhi's locked in. Harden, he cannot sign until after the NBA Finals this year. So the entire season would have to conclude before he would be eligible for an extension. But nonetheless, the big thing for me here personally is how it changes the dynamic of the potential free agency class. And basically takes the two best players that were going to be in that class out of it, right? If Paul George ultimately signs back, then that will officially mark the two best players, in my opinion, signing back to that team. And then Harden, I guess, would be the third best player that's a free agent. You got Clay Thompson mixed in there. He's a guy. Tobias Harris is another guy
Yeah,
that's going to
we
be
got
out.
to balance.
The free agency class is just not looking great. But I'm interested on your thoughts here. Are you surprised by the extension? Are you surprised that Kawhi was willing to lock in with them, even though they really haven't been able to do anything in the playoffs just yet with this core? Or do you think this was the right move for him and the Clippers? How do you feel about this, man?
Honestly, I say it was the right move for both sides. I mean, Kawhi, he's at a stage of his career where he's, whether ready to settle down in the sense of
Yeah.
like, I think he's like what 34, so he's not really just looking to, jump the ship that quick. And I say the Clippers, shout out to them for getting him to, buy into them, being successful for many more years to come. Because as of late, it has been rocking, and nobody's been able to stop them. I think they got like the best record since December 1st. So, a lot of that has a lot to do with, in my opinion,
Yeah.
though the recent success. So, yeah, I think it was pretty good for him. They can definitely build upon this. They got a lot of tradable assets if they want to go out there and get, a better piece to put alongside the big three of Harden, Kawhi, and PG. So I feel like it was the right move to make. Kawhi, he's been great. He's been available. That's the
Yeah.
biggest thing. So
That's the biggest part
yeah,
of it. Absolutely.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I think those are great points. And you mentioned their recent success, and that's the big part for me, man. They've been on a tear. They've been arguably the best team in the NBA for about 2 months now, right? They've been up there in the top with the Minnesotas, the Bostons, the Denvers, the OKCs. So they're right there, man. And it is all about them staying healthy. From Kawhi to Paul George to James Harden, who's a little bit older as well. All of these guys 30 plus. I think all of them around 30.
33, I
Kawhi's
think.
32. James Harden is 34 or 35, maybe.
Yeah, they're
And
running
then
like that limit for sure, like 33 to 35.
yeah, and then Paul George, he's got to be over 30 as well. So in that 31, 32 range. So all of these guys in their 30s, but this is the time is now, right? That's what they've been locked into, and I think this just furthers it. It gives them another 3-year window at getting to a championship and getting a ring for these guys. But it's going to be interesting to see how the season plays out, because that's going to be a big part of it, I imagine, in like bringing Harden back, and obviously Russell Westbrook. He will be leaving the team as well in the offseason. So there's a lot of moving pieces that we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But I would imagine if they have success, get to the second round, or able to win 2 playoff series and get to the Western Conference Finals, like that should be enough for Harden to get an extension there as well, and lock that core in. It's interesting though, the way they've been playing, man. PJ Tucker, another guy that's been talked about on that team as far as
Man.
being a potential buyout, man. You know what blew me about that report yesterday, man, is that it said the Sixers were interested, dog. Like, come on, like
Wow.
we don't need to go back through this. We don't need to go back down this road, bruh.
Man.
I have no interest in PJ Tucker on my team, man. I think when you look at Robert Covington, for example, I think Robert Covington's better than PJ Tucker at this point. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate PJ's leadership. I appreciate his hustle, his passion, but the talent just isn't there anymore. He's so much older now.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting piece. It'll be interesting to see where he could end up. Maybe back in Milwaukee, or
Yeah.
maybe over in Phoenix with KD or something. It would be interesting. I'm sure some team
Yeah.
will give him a call there.
It's definitely interesting because, I mean, PJ hasn't played since like what, late November?
Yeah, the Clippers
Yeah.
don't play him. They do
Yeah,
not play him.
he haven't played in a while.
Let me see here. I actually want to check. Yeah, he didn't play last night. Yeah, he has not played since November 27th. 6 minutes, and he had an offer.
Wow.
Oh,
That's the
zero,
key, huh?
zero, zero. That's PJ Tucker for you. But yeah, that's it. That is interesting, man. So yeah, he's looking to get bought out. Clippers, though, playing some really good basketball. And like you said, I thought you did say something interesting. I'm glad I rethought of it, because I was about to skip over what you said, but they do have pieces that they could move again, right? They already made the trade for Harden, but they could consolidate once again and just add that bench. Guys like Bones Highland, PJ Tucker. I
Norman
mean, Amir
Powell.
Coffey's been playing really good for them as well.
Yep.
They got options out there in LA as far as improving that team as well. And I think they should. I think they should go all in.
Yeah, for
Honestly, they've been
sure.
playing that good.
Yeah. This could be the year for them. You never know.
It could. It feels like it, yo. Like honestly, if I like all bias aside, I hate Harden, obviously, the way he left the team, like the way he left the Sixers. But like all
Yeah.
bias aside, I truly think they do have a chance at winning the championship if they can stay healthy.
Yeah.
Um, let's move on to a soft subject for you, or maybe it's a tougher topic for you actually. Um, the Draymond Green talk, right? And the
Yeah.
first thing I want your thoughts on is the speculation and him basically putting it out there that he did consider retiring. Like, did that surprise you at all that he considered that? Do you actually believe that he considered it?
Well, I say yeah, because I mean Draymond, he's smart enough to know well. At this point, anybody can just point out, like, bro, you at the later stages of your career, so all the antics and all the different
Acting up.
things that you've been doing for the past 12 plus years you've been in this league, teams not going for that. Adam Silver not going for it. Just the NBA in general, just not going for it. So I can feel he coming from. He said this is just too much for him, and
Yeah,
which it is. Like maybe he feel like he can't be that same guy that he's accustomed to being on the court. Now that they're going to be more strict on him, arguing
yeah,
with the refs, saying this to different players, things like that. So I
yeah,
can understand where he coming from that standpoint, and it's just a lot on him. And who knows, he could be dealing with some things at home and different things like that. So I could definitely feel he coming from. I think it was true. I definitely
yeah,
feel like he consider retiring because I had seen a report even going into this season that he's kind of considered it. So I
yeah.
believe him on that.
That is, yeah, it is interesting. I think you make a great point. Like at the end of the day, these guys are humans. Like Draymond out there on the court and the passion that he plays with may not be the same. Like, when you come down, like when everybody gets angry, right? We all get angry in life. And like when you come down from the anger and you look back on some of the stupid things that you said or done, like you can have regrets, right? And that shit can like eat at you. And I think that's what
For sure.
Draymond was facing here because, like you said, he's at the later part of his career where these antics aren't acceptable given his play. Now, it's not to say that he's not a good player anymore. It's just that he doesn't present the talent that outweighs what those antics can do to a team. And it's just been so long that these things have been happening that now he has built up not a reputation of just being a hustle guy or having an attitude or being tough. He's now gotten the reputation of being like cheap and dirty, right? And that's where
Right.
the line is very thin as far as crossing it for Draymond. And I think that's for him, like you said, if he can't come out and play with the same intensity, if he can't come out and show his passion in the ways that he has done his whole career, then how is he going to come out and play his best basketball for the team? And I do get that. But he said Adam Silver had a conversation with him, said, don't be so, don't be so, don't be so rash about your decision. Don't rush this decision because you still have a lot to contribute. I mean, he is a guy that's averaging, 10 points per game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists on the season. So he still is giving the Warriors a lot there. And he does bring that leadership as well. But I'm curious from your perspective, based on what you've seen from the Warriors of late, and where they are right now. Obviously, they're the 12th seed in the Western Conference. That whole Western Conference is just jumbled up. All teams are within a few games of each other, depending on the spot in the standings. But do you think that Draymond will come back and have a positive impact on this team? Like, do you believe that he could maybe spark a winning streak that could get you guys back into the playoff picture? Or do you think that there is moves to be made that maybe it's not Draymond, right? Like Draymond's not going anywhere, but maybe there's moves to be made to add to this team. Maybe it's trading Chris Paul, trading Jonathan Kuminga, who had some comments about Steve Kerr recently. Where are you at? Where are you at with this team? Where are you at with Draymond returning? That's the big question here for you, man. I know that's
Well,
loaded.
first, okay, no lie. If he come back, he definitely will help us in different ways. Like you mentioned, being a leader, we missing that. Both him and Chris
Yeah,
Paul out. This team, bro, just looking at it, it's just no communication. Those two
yeah,
guys are, no doubt. Those two guys talk a lot, so we definitely missing the both of them. But yeah, Draymond will definitely help this team in certain areas that we lack it or have been lacking since he's been gone. But does it mean anything? It means absolutely nothing. I mean, this team
not
has more
enough.
issues beyond Draymond. Like
Yeah,
he just not one guy just not going to come back and fix his team, let alone Draymond to be exact. It's just not even one trade or two trades. I don't think it fixed his team. It just I don't know. It's just so much going on from a front office standpoint of
Yeah.
coaching the players. I don't know what to say. It's just this team look lifeless at this point. So
Yeah. It's
Draymond
crazy.
just, for me, wouldn't help this team get over the hump or spark a winning streak like you asked. So yeah, but moves are definitely to be made. I mean, if they continue to just let the team be the same, then I don't know what to say. Like clearly they don't value winning or trying to compete for a championship, even though despite who we get out, they were going to win anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah, trades are definitely to be made for sure.
Would you move off of Jonathan Kuminga? Would you trade him?
No, I wouldn't. Honestly, I wouldn't. I just
I
feel
don't
like he
blame
could
you.
be the
I think he's
future of
too
this
young, man.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
think
feel like he could be the future of this team.
when you look at that next era of Warriors basketball, obviously I don't think Steph is going to retire within like the next 3 years at least. I think he's got 3 seasons left in him at least. Steph is interesting because it's all about how long he wants to play rather than, him like not being good enough to play in the NBA. He finally decides to hang it up. Like I think he's going to be playing pretty well throughout the end of his career, and one day he's just going to wake up and it's going to be time. Maybe his body's too sore, whatever the case may be. But I think he has a few seasons left in him nonetheless. Clay is interesting, right? Like Clay's a free agent. Draymond just got the contract extension. He's a little bit older, obviously pondered retirement. So this big three, man, this three that's been there so long, it's kind of sad, to see it the way it's happening right now. And that's why I wonder if there's going to be like some maybe irrational decisions made in order to try to make this team better right now and get them to the postseason to take advantage of these 3 guys still being here. But I just don't know if that's the move, man. Moving off of like Moses Moody, moving off of Jonathan Kuminga, just to give yourself a chance where who are you bringing in, that's going to propel you to like championship contender? Let me ask you this. Pascal Siakam, there's been rumors there. Like, does he make the Warriors a championship contender in your eyes?
If we get him, we definitely have to make more moves. Like
Yeah,
I'd be on board to bring him in for
yeah.
sure, but we would
I
have
think that
to.
lineup, like
Yeah,
Steph, Clay, insert whoever, Draymond Pascal. I think that would be a really solid lineup. Actually, you could
yeah,
just play some small ball.
yeah. We would just have to make another move for sure. But I'd be on board to get Pascal. I wouldn't include Kaminga. Wiggins
Yeah,
definitely could go because I don't know what's been up with him lately. But yeah, I'd take Pascal for sure.
yeah. No, I feel you there. It's interesting. The Warriors have been linked to him. There's a couple teams that I think Pascal would fit really well on, but
Yeah, for sure.
it's interesting, man. It's interesting where you're at with the Warriors right now. I feel
Trade
for you,
deadline they
brother.
get interesting, bro.
I
No
feel
lie.
for you. Um, just to kind of move past that, looking at what Darko said the other night about the Lakers game, and I thought this was interesting only because I watched the Sixers game last night, and just the way that game played out made me a little salty with the officials as well. Because at the end of this game last night with the Sixers versus the Hawks, you had Tyrese Maxey at the end of regulation drive to the rack, clearly get fouled by Trae Young. No call. Ball goes off Tyrese Maxey's knee. Ball goes back to Atlanta. We go to OT. Then in OT, my man Maxey, I didn't even know he had 5 fouls the whole time, but they called the softest 6 foul to foul this man out in OT and get him out of there. And it just, that amongst a bunch of other things that happened towards the end of that game, it just makes you wonder, like, was this game just had to go to Atlanta, it felt like, right? Like, and so it brought me back to Toronto's coach, Darko, his comments about the NBA, and he basically called it rigged, man. Like he said the NBA is rigged. If you're gonna have us come out to LA and they're gonna get 21, 23 free throws in one quarter, we're gonna get 2 free throws in one quarter. What the hell is the point in us playing the game? And that one really hit home for me, man, because there's officiating problems throughout sports. But I'm interested just based on the games that you've watched this season, the uh the implementation of like the replay reviews and the challenges and how they've kind of impacted the game. How do you feel about the officiating as a whole in the NBA right now, just compared to maybe even the NFL? Right, we know the NFL has issues, right?
Yeah.
Where are you at with the NBA officiating? I'm just curious here.
Well, first and foremost, I agree. The, not only does that game feel rigged, like the Lakers, bro. I don't know what it is with them and the refs. It's like they got like a secret contract or something going on because
It's
like
weird, right?
Austin Reeves, bro. Like no knock on his game, but bro gets superstar calls, and he's just been in the league for like what 4 years now, 5 years.
Yeah, yeah.
He gets
That's
superstar calls, bro. Like, it's just crazy. But all
that's a
season
weird
long, the
call.
refs have been terrible, man. Like terrible officiating.
Yeah,
And one thing about the refs, bro, like they hate to get like called out like on something they feel like they perfect. Charles Barkley alluded to this like a few years ago. They hate to be wrong, bro. Which is why I'm so glad that they brought in challenge where he could challenge a call. It makes
yeah,
so much sense. But the refs, they've been horrible all year, and shout out to him for having the balls to even go out and do
yeah.
that. You know, that says a lot because most
Still
coaches
get
won't
fined.
really say nothing like that. So shout out to
Yeah,
him for going out and actually saying something. He got his
facts.
money worth for sure. So hey,
Facts. No lie. And I thought you brought up some great points there, man, as well. Um, just the fact that the Lakers specifically get these type of calls, man. And I sit here and watch Tyrese Maxey go to the rack each and every night, get
right,
raped
exactly.
on the way to the hoop, and my man gets no calls. But then Austin Reeves is getting treated like a superstar. So like it is crazy. And the officiating, there's been rumors throughout the years, right, with different fandoms of the officials. We've
Yeah,
seen the Celtics get favoritism from officials in the past as well, man. So I'm interested to see how the NBA, with this type of attention on it, how they're going to adjust, if they'll adjust at all. I doubt it, but it will be interesting to see how that plays
yeah.
out.
You know what? Like I actually seen that clip of Tyrese finding out. It was crazy. I was like, man, what he supposed to do in a situation like that? But it just goes back to what I said earlier, the superstar calls. Trae Young, he
Yeah.
gets this, so you know.
And see, Trae Young getting it, that makes a little more sense, right? He is
Yeah,
an actual all-star, superstar, but like Austin Reeves,
yeah,
that's where you
franchise
gotta
player.
gotta draw the line a little bit
Yeah, for
there,
sure.
though.
Yeah, like Austin Reeves, he
Um,
lives at the free throw line, man.
what did you we haven't talked since the OG trade. What did you think of the OG trade to New York? Did you like that trade for OG for New York? Did you like it for Toronto?
Honestly, it's just one of those trades to where you really don't see where it works out for both teams. Like you go
Yeah,
back to the Pacers and the Kings with Tyrese Halliburton going over to the Pacers and Sabonis going over to the Kings. You see that trade worked out pretty well for both teams, and this is the kind of the same situation in my opinion. It's just working out for both teams. RJ, he's been great with the Raptors. Emmanuel quickly, he's coming into his own as a starter. And OG, man, the OG effect. The Knicks are like 5-0. They haven't lost a
yeah,
game since he's been with them, and his plus minus is amazing, man. So yeah, it's just one of those trades to where it's worked out for both teams. So you just love to see it for sure.
yeah. No, I tend to agree with you there. At first, I was like, maybe the Raptors won it, but I mean that's to be
Yeah, that's what
determined.
I
I
thought
think.
too.
Yeah, I think as of right now, I think OG fits really well with the New York Knicks. And apparently he wanted to go there. Like he wanted to go there. He's gonna sign back with them. I don't know. I guess my question to you, is OG Anunoby a max player?
Uh, I don't know, man.
It's a
It's
tough
tough for
question.
sure. It's tough,
I'm
man.
not
Because
hating on him. I think he's a great player. I think he's a great addition to the Knicks. I think he fits what they're doing. Is he a max contract player? Like if he gives you 11 one night, but
I
he gives
will
you
say
great
this, like
defense.
I will say this, like if you look around the league though, like Jaden McDaniels with the Timberwolves, he got a max deal, and you can probably like compare them in the sense of like the both of them having like the same skill set and provides the same things to both of their teams. So
Good,
if he looking
good.
at the market, he can look at a guy like Jaden McDaniels' contract and be like, oh, okay, I'm better than him, or I want my range to be around his contract, So yeah, I can see him maybe getting a max for sure
That is
because
that's a good
his
way to
defense is elite.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah, everything outside of basically scoring the ball is elite, right? Like his intangibles, his IQ, his defense, his effort. Just he's obviously been part of a championship team too, right? Up in Toronto, so he knows what it takes. So, yeah, I think it is. It was a pretty even trade so far, and I think the hidden part of this trade that really could play in the Raptors' favor is just getting RJ Barrett back in Toronto and back in Canada. Like I think getting him somewhere more comfortable, that is his home, his place of residence, and he's going to be a lot more comfortable there. And maybe you can see him start to get closer to what people thought he would be coming out of Duke and coming out of college. So I'm excited for RJ Barrett to kind of go to Toronto and get the keys to the whip. But Emmanuel quickly as well, man. He's another guy that's going to get the keys to the car up in Toronto and get to run his own show. Jalen Brunson came in and kind of took that from him in New York, so he'll get that back up in Toronto. So I'm happy for him.
Yeah, I feel like the Knicks didn't want to pay quickly, though. Honestly, I feel like there was a reason he was included in that trade too, because I know they paid Dante and they paid Josh Hart, and I guess he was the odd man out. So yeah. But speaking of the Raptors, I seen a report like a few days ago. So what you think about this? So Dennis Schroeder, basically, how you feel about him? Can he be a number one option on the team? Just like, do you think he can?
Hell no. No, I saw that report too, but it is funny, man, because they brought in Emmanuel quickly, and now you got Dennis Schroeder, basically like, what the hell am I doing here? I'm supposed to be the option on this team.
No, he got moved to the bench. So
when I think of the Raptors, bro, I think of Scotty Barnes. That's the main piece there in Toronto. Like that's the go-to guy. But that's funny though. I did see that report from Dennis Schroeder. He's still got game. Like, don't get me wrong. Dennis Schroeder is a solid player. But the go-to guy, the number one option.
No, he's not a number one option, bro.
Nah, you can miss me with that. Interesting. Yeah, he thinks that it's gonna be a maxi type leap, possibly for quickly. That's fair. I mean, you get the opportunities now. That's the big thing up in Toronto. He's starting. He gets the opportunities. How do you feel about Toronto's core with Quickly and RJ added to it? Like you got Quickly, RJ, Scotty Barnes, Grady Dick is the other guy that I'm forgetting about there that they just drafted. He's not getting a ton of playing time with Toronto, but he is the future for them. So how do you feel about their young core and what they're building there? Obviously, Siakam may be on the move soon, for all we know.
See, that's the thing. Like I say, Pascal, Dennis Schroeder, and Jakob Poeltl, they should, trade those guys and just build towards the future. Like you mentioned, they got a nice core. Try to get some draft picks. Different things like that. Just look towards the future. But they got a nice core for sure.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. It would be wise for them to look towards the future because they can make the playoffs, right? As like a 6, a 5, maybe a 5, right? Like maybe I might be over projecting them there, but maybe a 6 through 8 seed they can get into the Eastern Conference playoffs. But what for, right? Like just to get out in the first round again or play Milwaukee in the first round. So, yeah, I'm with you there. Let's move in.
Back too, man.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
They got a coach. They got their back. So
Yeah, you do gotta love that, and people are raving about him up in Toronto. So definitely good to give him the credit that he deserves there, man. Get that comment off the screen there. Definitely thank you TR for commenting there too. Everybody else that's watching out there, be sure to share your thoughts. We are live here. Scotty Talks isn't always live, but we are live today. And we will be live going forward with my man Slim here. But let's get into the top 10 power rankings as of right now in the NBA, and then we're going to finish out with our offensive and defensive players of the week for the last week of basketball. But we can go in order from 10 to 1 here, my man. I'll throw it to you. I have Sacramento Kings 23 and 14 right now as my number 10 team in my power rankings currently.
For me, I got the Memphis Grizzlies. They're 4-1 in their last 5 games. Desmond Bain, he's been doing a phenomenal job batting to that point guard role, being more assertive being more of a leader. And Marcus Smart, man, he's been more aggressive offensively. He's
Has
averaging
to.
25 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds over his last 3 games as well. Jaren Jackson Jr., he's been more consistent offensively. So, yeah, this good team been doing some things. Obviously, it sucks to see Ja, go out. He's out for the rest of the season. But overall, they've been playing some good basketball. They beat the Mavericks last game. They beat some impressive teams over their last 5 games. So, yeah, I got the Grizzlies coming in number 10.
I actually like that pick a lot, man. And you were able to pull a kind of a sleeper out of the works out of the woodworks there, and I appreciate that because the Grizzlies are playing some good basketball. How do you feel about them with the Ja injury? Like, do you think it's possible for them to make the playoffs in the West? It's going to be really tough.
It's definitely gonna be tough for sure. I'd say they probably can make the play in, but you never know. Like the trade deadline approaching, they may make a
That's
move.
true.
Who knows? And they may can what is it? They can feel for like a disabled player exception or something. Maybe they can get like some money coming in to sign a guy or trade for a guy. Who knows? So
That's very true. That's very true.
yeah,
Yeah, they may have to look into some deals to make. It's interesting because you come into the season, Steven Adams is out, right? He's out
yeah.
on injury reserve, and then who's the other guy? I'm forgetting. Brandon
Brandon
Clark.
Clark.
Brandon Clark's
Yeah.
the other guy that's out for season.
Well,
Well,
Marcus
maybe not.
Smart,
He could come back
was
towards
out.
the end of
He
this.
was in another lineup too.
Yeah, yeah. So they got some issues, but nonetheless, they're playing some of their best basketball in the season right now. My number 9, man, I went with the Dallas Mavericks. They're 22-16 currently, 6-4 in their last 10. You look at the Mavericks, man. Obviously, Luka, Kyrie, they're trying to figure it out. I do think this Mavericks team is a team that will be active at the deadline. I think they're a team that could add something, right? Trade something, whether it's Tim Hardaway Jr. and try to get some type of better fitting piece there, maybe a more defensive minded piece, like a 3-and-D, more of a 3-and-D caliber type of player. Whereas THJ, he's great from the 3-point line. He's a great offensive scorer, but not the greatest defender. I think they could use him in a trade and try to improve the team as well and get into that top class of the Western Conference because they're right there. They're right there for my money.
Yeah. Nice pick, nice pick. So for me, coming in number 9, I got the Utah Jazz. Jordan Clarkson, he's leading the NBA in points per game off the bench. In their last 11 games, they 9-2. Their last 3 games, they got some impressive wins against the Bucks, against the Sixers, against your Sixers, against the Nuggets, and no team has a better record over the last 10 games.
They got me.
Yeah, they head coach Will Hardy. He's been doing a phenomenal job. I mean, I like their rookie. They got Keontae George. He's been great for them. So yeah, they building on something here.
Yeah. That's a good call, man. 8-2 in their last 10. You mentioned it. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They went on an East Coast trip where they came out very successful and showed very good signs there. Yeah, Utah's interesting, man. That Western Conference, it's crazy right now. Like it really is crazy right now, the records and how close everybody is. Because they're 8 games back of the number 1 seed. They're a half game back of the 10th seed, basically the play-in. But then they are only 3.5 games back of the 7 seed. So they could get up to the 7 seed within the next 2 weeks if they continue to play at the rate that they're playing at right now. My number 8 team is going to be those Sixers that you just mentioned. Obviously, they're dealing with the Embiid injury right now. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They're not playing great basketball right now. Maxey trying to figure out some things, trying to get some guys back from injury. This is another team that I do think is going to be active at the trade deadline, especially with the Kawhi Leonard extension, the rumors about Paul George. There's not going to be anybody to use those max slots in free agency on. That's what I'm coming to the conclusion of.
Right. I seen your post on Twitter, so yeah.
Yeah, so go out and get it done now. Go out and go for it all this season. That's the way I'm looking at it, man. But Sixers come in at 8 for me there.
It's tough because I had the Sixers in my power rankings, but honestly, like I kicked them out for this particular team, and that's Chicago Bulls, man. 3-2 in their last 5 games. Kobe White has been balling ever since Zach LaVine went down.
Yeah.
But might I add, they've been undefeated since Zach LaVine been back. I think he's been back for like 3 games now. And during these last 5 games, Kobe White has averaged 24 points, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds per game. He's coming to his own. He's been phenomenal all season. And it's a crazy stat with Andre Drummond. Like, he's averaging those 17 rebounds a game when he starts.
That's
And
crazy.
he started 7 times so far this season. So, yeah, I got to go with the Bulls, man. Show them some love, man. They've been better than I expect them to be. So,
yeah, they are. They have entered the playoff picture in the Eastern Conference. They've won 3 in a row. And to your point, yeah, they got Levine back, and they're playing some good basketball with him and Kobe White still, playing at the level he's playing at. So, yeah, Kobe White is actually interesting. It's an interesting name you brought up there because that's a guy out of all the Chicago players, right, that everybody's mentioning in trade rumors. I think Kobe White is the one that, like, if I'm the Sixers working with Chicago, like, that's the guy that I would probably want the most. Now, obviously, Levine, he has his value, but I think with his contract, that's what makes me lean towards a guy like Kobe White rather. And the injury concerns that come with Levine. But yeah, I think Chicago's playing some pretty good basketball, and it is behind Kobe White. I got to watch him very closely up against Philly recently, and he balled out. My number 7 team is going to be the New Orleans Pelicans. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They're finally healthy. That's the biggest thing for me with the Pelicans right now. You got Zion, you got Brandon Ingram out there, CJ McCollum, Trey Murphy's back. They're operating on full cylinders. I realized why you made that face. Because they took care of business against some Warriors last night.
Did they? I mean, did they? Oh my God, bro! Like,
I didn't realize. I was like, why is he making that face about the Pelicans? And then I realized they won 140 to. Let me see here. 141 to 105 last night. Man, how does that happen, bro? I mean, the whole Pelicans team kind of went off as well. I mean, they had 5 starters that scored double digits. They had 3 bench guys that scored double digits. Trey Murphy, Hawkins, Najee Marshall. Man, what a dismal night from the Warriors, man. I didn't even peep that game like that. But nonetheless, the Pelicans come in at number 7 for me. No offense to you.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd say, like, me making that face had something to do with that game, but it really more so had something to do with I had them in number 7 as well. Because at this point, man, I'm not like worried about the Warriors, bro. Like, just like I'm not worried about them.
Fair.
At number 7, I got the Pelicans. They formed one of their last 5. Brandon Ingram, he's making his case, to be an all-star this season. He's been pretty good for the most part all year, being consistent. Zion being available is key to this team, for them to be successful and try to compete for a championship. Like you mentioned earlier, they have a lot of depth. Trey Murphy, he's back. Jose Alvarado, I like the rigger. They got Jordan Hawkins over there, Najee Marshall. So, yeah, they got a lot of depth, guys playing for one another. So, yeah, I got the Pelicans at number 7, man.
Yeah, no, I like it. And fair enough. I feel you. Whenever the team, that's kind of what I had to do with the Eagles for the last 6 weeks is just put them on the back burners and, just don't let myself get emotional about it. Right.
Yeah,
like
exactly,
they're just not playing well. It's not my fault.
Exactly. Yeah. We haven't had a chance to talk about that neither, but yeah.
Yeah.
How about the Eagles,
things ain't great. My number 6 is going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, if you have them higher, I completely understand. I think I'm giving a little bit of benefit of doubt regarding experience to the teams above them, but nonetheless, OKC is one of the best teams in the NBA right now. You know what? I'm sitting here looking at my note. Let me backtrack here. I'm actually going to move OKC ahead of Milwaukee. I have Milwaukee at number 5. I'm going to move Milwaukee down to number 6 here because I do feel like OKC should be top 5. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They're 25-11 versus the Bucks, who are 5-5 in their last 10, 25-12. Not playing with Dame right now. So yeah. I'm gonna move OKC to number 5. I'm gonna move Milwaukee down to number 6. Actually, make an adjustment in show here.
I can respect it for sure. The Thunder, they've been great all year. But for me at number 6, I got the Sacramento Kings. It's a bonus, man. That brother has been putting up some spectacular numbers. He's leading the league this year in points, rebounds, and assists. So, Yeah, shout out to him. De'Aaron Fox, he's been consistent all season long from 3-point range. He's shooting like 39%. So when he's shooting it pretty
He's
good from 3-point
unstoppable.
range, it just adds another dimension to that offense that teams just have to focus more on because, he get downhill and finish at the rim with the
Yeah.
best of him. But with him shooting that great from 3-point range, man, he's tough to guard. And Keegan Murray, he's been more aggressive offensively. That's what this team need. His past 2 games, he's has back-to-back 25-point games on over 6% shooting. So, yeah, Malik Monk, man, he's been great all year for them coming off the
Yeah.
bench. He's making his case for 6-man of the year. So, I got the
Yeah.
Kings coming in at number 6.
Actually, I like what the Kings are doing. They're another team as we approach the trade deadline, which we've talked a lot about that. We are approaching it, right? It's right at the beginning of February. We'll definitely have an episode dedicated to the trade deadline for sure. But that's a
Maybe we could
team.
do like a live or something.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Sacramento is a team I expect to be active. But number 5, I have the Milwaukee Bucks. Or see, I just messed it up again. I have the Oklahoma City Thunder at number 5. I have the Milwaukee Bucks at number 6. But I'm going with the Thunder here at number 5. Although I do believe, you look at the Clippers, the Denver, the Minnesotas of the world, they could be up higher. I'm giving those other teams the benefit of the doubt, given the experience that the players on those teams have. And what they're doing right now. But OKC, man, coming into this season, I knew they would be good. Like, I knew it, right? Like, I knew they would be good. Getting Chet back, SGA elevating even further in, Jalen Williams elevating even further, Lou Dort, so on and so forth. But this team is what? The number 2, number 3 seed in the West right now. And it looks like they've arrived this year. Like, that's where I'm at right now. Like, can this team contend for a championship right now? It might be a little far stretch when you look at like Denver, you look at even the Clippers, for example. Even Minnesota has a little bit more experience, but man, they're playing some really good basketball. SGA MVP candidate right now. And they got a bench, they got a lot of guys, they got 10 to 12 guys they can throw out on the court that can contribute positively for this team. Yeah, said the Bucks are overrated. Yeah, the Bucks are number 6.
I had put that up. Yeah.
My bad. I took it down.
I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know what's up
Is
with the
it
Bucks
Damian
defense.
Lillard? Is it that simple? Like their defense? Is it as simple as adding Damian Lillard, taking Drew Holiday out? Like,
I don't know, bro. I will say this: like them having Malik Beasley and Damian Lillard on defense in the backcourt, that's just lunching me, bro. Like,
yeah,
who's guarding ball? Like Chris Middleton, he's older now. He's not the same defender as he once was a few seasons ago. So,
you ain't lying.
Yeah, man. Like them losing Drew Holiday, man, that was a huge loss, Because in my opinion, everything on defense started with him.
Yeah. And see, last year it's funny. Brooke Lopez was getting a lot of Defensive Player of the Year recognition last year, and it's like, that having Drew Holiday up top does help that, right? Like just having somebody that smart of a defender. And I think you add in Dame. He's not a great defender foot speed wise, regardless, but he's also small, so just creates mismatches all over. And you mentioned like they start Malik Beasley now. No Pat Connaughton, which Pat Connaughton was more that defensive-minded guy. He was a little bit more physical and could still shoot the three.
Got more heart.
Yeah, they don't have Jay Crowder right now, too. That's a little bit of the defensive identity, even though he's trending towards washed. But, the Bucks, while they're number 6 in my power rankings, man, I do think that them being number 2 in the Eastern Conference right now doesn't really speak to the struggles that they are actually facing on a night-to-night basis. So they're needing basically Giannis to go superhuman every night in order to get W's right now. And
exactly.
I just don't know if that's
the talking about like, hey, they should definitely be looking for like better defenders, wing defenders to be exact. Yeah, the Bucks, they should definitely be looking for like wing defenders around the trade deadline for sure.
Yeah, I do agree. The Brooklyn Nets, they have a couple wings down there, right? Royce O'Neal, Dorial Finney-Smith, guys that are known as 3-and-D. I don't know if they're, the efficiency's there on the three-point shot this year, but They're known for it, and those are two guys that I could see being moved at the trade deadline as well, man. So maybe the Bucks call up the Nets and see what's good there. Number 4, I mentioned it. I mentioned this team earlier, but it's the LA Clippers for me. They're 7-3 in their last 10.
What was that, number 5?
Did you give me your number 5, or you gave me number 6? Go ahead with your number 5.
No, I didn't. No, we stopped at 6. We stopped at 6. Yeah.
All right. I think I got ahead of you because I switched.
5.
Yeah, I switched. Yeah. So go ahead, because I had the OKC at 5.
Right. Yeah, you got the OKC. So at my 5, I got the Denver Nuggets. Really doesn't need to be much said about this team. Last Thursday, Jokic hit a crazy game winner against the Warriors.
I saw that.
That was wild. We earned to lose that game, but with the Nuggets, man, it's a team that, a lot of guys were saying that them losing Bruce Brown was a huge loss. I definitely thought it was, but man, Peyton Watson and Christian Brown coming off the bench, man, they has been phenomenal for those guys. They drafted well. I like the rookies they got. Reggie Jackson, he's been consistent all year. Michael Porter Jr., Abram Gordon. So yeah, this Nuggets team, they've been pretty good, man, all year.
Yeah, so. No, I tend to agree with you. The Nuggets, man, they're kind of this set team, right? They won the championship last year. I feel like it's just assumed that they can just coast through the regular season. They'll kind of turn it up a notch in the postseason, right? But even saying that, they're still in the top 3 in the West as far as record right now. So they are playing some great basketball. I'm going to mention another team out West who I've already mentioned this show, and that's the LA Clippers. 24-13 right now, 7-3 in their last 10. For my money, man, I'll be honest with you. Between these last 4 teams, I mean, you could make an argument that the Clippers are the best team in the NBA right now with the way they're playing. I think when you look at how that roster is built, all the doubt came from injuries and attitude. It wasn't coming from skill set and talent, right? They have all the talent, all the skill set in the world when you talk about what they have across their team, and they have the room to improve as well. But they are playing some of their best basketball right now, and you got to appreciate it ever since after that 5-game losing streak. I believe they have the best record in the NBA since that point in the season.
They do.
So playing some really, really good basketball right now, the Clippers.
Yeah. So for me, coming in at number 4, I got the OKC Thunder. You mentioned a lot of good things about them. SGA, he's the MVP candidate. Chet making his case for Defense Player of the Year. Jalen Williams, making his case for All-Star, being an All-Star. And one thing about this Thunder team, man, they have just been consistent all year. And you know what's so scary about this team moving forward is that they have so many draft picks, cap space, tradable assets, and like you mentioned, like they have arrived. Who knows that at the trade deadline they can trade for this one piece like a Laurie Marketing or something.
Yeah, that, that's crazy.
Yeah, like get a guy like him, add him to this core. Like who knows, man? Like they might, win it all. Who knows? But yeah, man, the Thunder they have arrived.
Crazy. Sure. Yeah, Laurie Markkinen, that would fit OKC so well. Honestly, I feel like he would fit there so well, just like the culture and the types of players they have there. But yeah, man, OKC, I just looked while you were talking about them just to confirm, but they do lead the Western Conference in point differential in the season as well. So that is interesting. But number 3, I have the Denver Nuggets, who you already mentioned, so I won't harp on them too much here. Like we said, I think this is a team that's going to be there at the end. And they're just going to – you may see them, lose 3 in a row during the regular season. I'm not going to panic if that happens. Maybe it doesn't happen anyways, right? But I'm not going to panic with this team. I think they've proven their worth, and I expect them to be there at the end. But they are also still playing some of their best basketball right now, which is why they're at number 3, 7-3 in their last 10 right
now. Yeah. Great pick. So for me, coming in number 3, I got the Boston Celtics. They're second in offensive rating, second in defensive rating, and first in net rating. And man, they still undefeated at home, man. They have this team, they figured it out. Like Kristaps Porzingis, he's been huge for this team in the locking lineup. Drew Holiday, he's been great all year. Derek White, he's been phenomenal, making his case to be an all-star in some people's eyes. But yeah, man, this Celtics team, they've been, consistent and figuring it out all year. So I got them coming in number 3.
Yeah, 18-0, man. That's crazy. 18-0 at home. I was not hip to that, but that is impressive. To be undefeated at anything at this point in the
Yeah,
season
in
is
this talented
impressive.
league, man.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. My number 2 is going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves. Even though they've struggled a little bit recently, I am still giving them the benefit of the doubt up here in the top 2. Just a talented team. I love their defensive identity. I love the fact that they have a superstar guard in Ant Edwards that can take over games. They just got to get a little healthy, get back on track, and get back to the way they were playing. But you mentioned Jaden McDaniels. That gives you like that lockdown 3 defender right on the team. They cover a lot of the bases, and I do think once again, as we approach this trade deadline, man, Cat playing some great basketball. Do they look to move him and maybe bring in something that fits a little bit better? I'm not saying they should. I'm not saying that that's the move because they're playing really good together right now. So maybe they don't even think about that. But it's going to be interesting to see how they operate towards the trade deadline. They come in at number 2 for me.
Yeah, it's a great pick, man. It's tough because I really wanted the Minnesota Timberwolves to be in my power rankings, but I'm
Yeah,
gonna ride the wave for a minute, you know. And number
I
2,
feel
I
it.
got the New York Knicks. They
Okay,
5-0.
I feel it.
The only undefeated team this year. Isaiah Hartenstein, he's been huge ever since Mitchell Robinson went down. He's been great for them. Injured guy, getting a lot of offensive rebounds, just being in the right spot on the court. Throughout this 5-game winning streak, Julius Randle's averaging 28 points per game, 7 rebounds, and Jalen Brunson averaging basically 9 assists and 24 points per game. So this next team, man, OG get him a different look. They've been great with him. You can just tell the difference that he make on both ends, making both of those guys' job
Yeah.
easy. So I got the Knicks coming in number 2.
Respect to that, man. That's funny. Maybe I'm hating on the Knicks. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
hating on the Knicks, man. I do feel you. They're on a 5-game winning streak. You got to give them some credit there, so I can appreciate that. My number 1 is going to be the Boston Celtics, who you already mentioned. I'm not going to comment on them any further. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're 18-0 at home now that I figured that out. They lead the NBA in point differential. So, all things standing, they could look to improve their bench. I think that's the weakest part of them. All it would take is one injury, one significant injury for things to fall off the rails for Boston. But I like where they're at right now, at least, and see what Kristaps Porzingis can continue to provide there. Who you got?
yeah. we got to have a discussion, man. I can't believe you ain't got the Clippers over here. What are we doing here, man? But yeah, for me, at number 1, man, I got the Clippers. They got the best record in the league since December 1st. They finally
Fair
figured it
enough.
out, man. Russell Westbrook, ever since he transitioned down to the bench, uh, this team just been figuring it out. Ty Lue's doing a phenomenal job getting these guys coached and different things like that. Guys buying into their roles. So, yeah, man, it's only right I go with the Clippers, man. They've been great.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. Like I said, arguably the best team in the NBA right now. I ultimately did take the Boston Celtics, Minnesota Timberwolves, Denver Nuggets over them right now, but you could argue definitely that they're playing better basketball than all of those teams, quite honestly. They've been playing really well. And like you said, since Russell Westbrook went to the bench, it's really flipped a switch for them. And I do think that they could still look to improve over the next few weeks before the trade deadline, man. But let's finish up the show here, brother, and finish strong. Our offensive, defensive players of the week. Now, to be clear, just going forward, everybody that's watching, the offensive, defensive players of the week, it's not necessarily the best player that in that category for the week. It's a player that we picked out. We want to identify and put the spotlight on. Sometimes it will be the best player for that category, but just wanted to make some clarifications there. But I'll throw it to you after this. I went with Kawhi Leonard as my offensive player of the week. Now, obviously, the numbers they're not going to blow you away for Kawhi Leonard, but it's the efficiency that really works for me. It's the 4-1 record in their last 5. It's the extension, right? He gets his extension. He's going to be a lot more comfortable there. But 22 points per game, 3.5 assists per game. The shooting splits are what's impressive to me, though. The 50% from the field, 45% from the three-point line, and 88% from the free throw line. Kawhi Leonard playing some great basketball. We know what he does on the defensive end as well. And he's the go-to guy for arguably the best team in the league right now, right? So I went with Kawhi Leonard just to give him some more spotlight on the way he's playing this season because availability, that's the only thing that can stop him, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like that pick. For me, my offensive player of the week, I got to go with JB, Jaylen Brown. 3 consecutive 30-point games. In his last 3 games, he's averaging 35.3 points a game, 6.7 rebounds, and 2 assists while shooting basically 63% from the field. So he's been efficient, getting downhill, getting to the paint, being more aggressive. When Jason Tatum was out against the Pacers that game, he dropped like 40 points, I think. So, yeah, got to give it to Jaylen Brown for sure. Absolutely. I think they're like 2-1 in that stretch. So, yeah. The richest contract in NBA history, man. He gets my offensive player of the week.
There we go. Yeah, finally, right? It's funny, man, because I saw somebody the other day, like, it wasn't a Sixers fan, though. It was like just like had nothing to do with like the Celtics or the Sixers. Like, he said that Jaylen Brown's contract is approaching like Tobias Harris territory. And I just thought that was crazy. Like, Tobias Harris has never done this type of stuff in his life. It's just, I guess what I'm getting at, man, like Twitter has become like this just big ass troll session across like all sports that where like
for sure, man.
You see tweets, you can't even take them serious. Like it's for clicks. There's like farming of engagement going on there. So it's funny because you bring those numbers are excellent, right? Like they're the best right now. And it's funny, I just saw that tweet maybe a day ago or 2 days ago where somebody was saying like Jaylen Brown is approaching like Tobias Harris contract territory of like not fulfilling it. It's like, dude, not even close. Not even close. Trust me, from experience, not even close.
I'm gonna say nobody knows more than you, bro. So
people just love the troll. But taking it to the defensive side of the ball, great pick, by the way. Taking it to the defensive side of the ball, I went with Victor Wembanyama coming off of his first triple-double last night, man. Triple-double in 21 minutes? Like, what the fuck? That is impressive, bro. That is impressive.
To be a rookie, to be exact. Like,
rookie, 16 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists in just 21 minutes. It was against the Detroit Pistons, fine, fair, but he is a rookie, right? Like, it's impressive regardless. On the season, 19.2 points per game, 10 rebounds per game. But the big thing, leading the NBA in blocks, 3.2 blocks per game. It is nice to see a rookie come into the league and have that type of defensive impact. So wanted to give Victor Wembanyama the nod here today.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, great minds thinking. Like, that's who I got as well. I got Vic.
I love it.
Get a rookie some praise, man. His last 3 games, to be exact, he's averaging 3.3 blocks and 10.3 rebounds. To be more exact from a defensive standpoint, so it's only right. Like, last 3 games, he's leading all players in blocks with 3.3. So, as you mentioned, he did something pretty impressive last night. He got a triple-double. Like, man, in less than, what was it, 21 minutes? 20 minutes?
Yeah, 21 minutes. 21 minutes. Yeah. Man, and you mentioned the blocks. Like, so last night he didn't have any blocks, but he had the triple-doubles, so his efforts were going elsewhere last night, right? But before that, 5 blocks, 4 blocks. Last month, 7 blocks, 5 blocks, 6 blocks, 5 blocks, 4 blocks. Like, that's insane to, like, see these numbers night-to-night basis. Obviously, we've had guys like Rudy Gobert, right, that come in and are just defensive juggernauts, but that's just impressive, man.
Yeah, like with Wemby, to be exact, like when he first came to this league, I made like a post on Twitter a while back. I said that if any of his other things doesn't translate, like as far as scoring and different things like that, I always said that he would be an elite rim protector, bro. Like for him, like it just I knew that would always translate for sure.
No, I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you, man. It's insane what he's capable of doing, and he's still learning. Like you can see it when you watch him play, like in his face, that he's still like a baby. Like he's still learning on the go, and it was impressive. The matchup with Giannis last week. Did you have a chance to watch that or like the highlight? I mean,
yeah, I watched the highlights
about
for sure.
Freaks. Yeah, just like obviously Giannis is a great freak.
But the league is in great hands.
Oh my goodness, man. Yeah. And then I mean, obviously Chet too, right? I'm sure we'll talk about him a lot more as the season goes on, but Chet Holmgren, a rookie, technically rookie. But impressive. Yeah, the league is in great hands. I mean, I'm interested, just off top, I'm interested to see what Emmanuel Quickly can go up in Toronto and do with the ball in his hands more. RJ Barrett, like getting more opportunity. There's just so much around the league. Yeah, the Spurs want great call out, Darius. The Spurs want DeJounte Murray back.
Yeah, I seen that report. It's
interesting. Why trade him? But they got 2 first-round picks for him, so if they could get him back for less than that, that would be a hell of a swap. But I'm hoping the Sixers go out and trade for DeJounte, man. That's my number 1 trade target for the Sixers.
Same thing with the Warriors, bro. Like, just feel like it's time, man.
Yeah. It's time. But man, that was a good show. It felt good to get you back in here with me, Slim. Get back on the pod with you and talk some NBA, man. We got a lot more to go this season. The NFL's wrapping up. So maybe we can even kick it up a notch once the NFL season concludes and really start pumping out some content together. But nonetheless, we'll be here every Thursday going forward. Slim and I, and we will try to go live as much as we can so we can get you guys and keep you guys involved in the show. Definitely appreciate all the commenters out there, man.
Appreciate that, Darius. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Darius. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, TR earlier as well. We appreciate all the comments, all the thoughts. Definitely tune in next week. We'll be right back with some similar content, the same segments, but updated with the news that's going around the league. The NBA season is beyond interesting right now, but guys,
I tell you, bro.
Guys,
trade deadline only a month away, bro. So much stuff.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
So much stuff going to go down. The trade deadline being a month away. So much stuff going to happen. Man.
I know it's weird, like how exciting the trade deadline is, right? But I think it's only exciting when your team is on the set of, they're in the mindset of going after and getting some talent in house, which I think both of our teams should be in that mindset as we approach the deadline. So definitely, guys, keep an eye on the Scotty Talks NBA channel. Keep an eye on the To the Galaxy Pod YouTube channel. We are streaming live on both of the channels here right now. So be sure to check out Slim's channel as well. Hit the subscribe button, like the video, and share with all your friends. Help us build the community here, guys. But that is going to be it for this episode. For myself, for Slim, have a great rest of your Thursday. We will see you next week.